Not everyone is happy in their religion. Not every believer is at ease in the mosque or in the church or even in their dreams. They pretend to believe more than they do for various reasons, but this is not the same as not believing at all. They doubt, but with that doubt comes fear. For in Islam and Christianity, doubt alone is reason enough for God to roast you on a spit forever without a single coffee break. My aim has always been to persuade such people that there is nothing to fear, to convince them that their doubt is not to be the cause of their damnation, but the key to their salvation from a life tainted and occasionally ruined by irrational fear. It's a battle of ideas, and as such, the battlefield is the mind. But as with an actual battle, military tactics can be of use. But what use is an entire army, indeed all the armies on earth, against an all-powerful, all-knowing, supernatural God? The answer is, of course, no use whatsoever, if the God concerned is real. But even if the God isn't real, an army is still no use. No weapon is of any use. But that doesn't mean that you're unarmed. Far from it. Though there are those who will try to persuade you that this is the case. One of the prime functions of religious scripture is to convince you that you are powerless. But, as with so much that religion has told you, this is the opposite of the truth. Before you and within you, there is an array of effective weaponry: knowledge, curiosity, courage, logic, rationality, not to mention the keyboard and computer that give you access to the largest library ever known, the internet. You are not unarmed. You're armed to the teeth. You just don't know it. If you are uncomfortable, if you are willing to fight for your mind, as the great philosopher Rooster Cogburn once said,
"Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!"
If God is real, then you are essentially trapped in its world where you can be crushed at any time. But if this God is just an idea, then it is trapped in your mind where you have the power, if you can learn to use it. But what can you do? Where should you start? Any general will tell you that you do not, as a rule, divide your main force on the battlefield, and you never, ever, ever attack your target at its strongest point. But this is the mistake that so many make when trying to disprove a supernatural God. They throw everything they've got, their entire arsenal, all their intellectual force, directly at the God, trying to unravel convoluted theological arguments that have been refined for centuries. And they all too often fail. As Christians will often tell you, Christianity is the anvil that broke 1,000 hammers. But this isn't any wonder. For as with an anvil, all religious scripture is designed for purpose, to take the blows. You do not hammer an anvil away. You melt it down. Do not make the mistake of directly attacking the supernatural God you wish to escape. Gods are far too slippery and they can anticipate any ambush. But they do have a weakness, an unguarded gate to their heavily fortified castle. Shift your aim to the left. That is your target. That is the weak point. All gods are supernatural. All of them. If you use your energy to study the natural, to dismiss your belief in the supernatural, then whatever remains, whatever might have created this universe, it cannot, by definition, be a god. Defeat the supernatural, and you will defeat all gods. They will simply melt away. The supernatural and the paranormal cannot bear close scrutiny. You may believe in astrology, tarot cards, Ouija boards, ghosts, poltergeists, telepathy, telekinesis, spells, curses, clairvoyance, mediums, remote viewing, faith healing, miracle cures, crystal energy, etc. But if I offered you $1 million to find the truth on any of these matters, you could and you would do it. You would apply your mind to the problem as you've never done before, and this, of course, is what's required to break free. I used to believe in ghosts. For 28 years, all the questions and doubts I had could be answered by any idiot I encountered, and it was enough to keep me believing. But after studying the natural world for only a few months, I lost my belief in ghosts without even trying. I had far better answers for my questions. For instance, how much does a ghost weigh? The answer you will get from most people is nothing at all. But if that's true, ghosts cannot have mass or momentum and cannot feel the force of gravity. And if that's true, there's nothing binding them to the surface of the earth. Without gravity to keep them here, any ghost that appeared before you would instantly disappear with a somewhat shocked expression at tens of thousands of miles per hour, due to the Earth's rotation and its motion around the Sun, not to mention the motion of our Sun and planet around our galaxy. The ghosts would not be haunting the place where they died, for that place was left behind, lost between the stars. How are we supposed to be seeing these ghosts? They have supposedly been photographed. But for us to see or photograph anything, light must be involved. Now, you may have heard of moonlight, starlight, daylight, firelight, but we know without any doubt whatsoever that all light is the same. Electromagnetic radiation, photons. Light can only be emitted from or reflected by solid matter with mass. And before they could walk through any wall, they would sink through the floor and possibly keep going to the centre of the earth. Now, I know many of you are saying that I am being too literal, that ghosts belong in the spiritual realm, the same place, incidentally, where I keep my $1 million. But if ghosts can be seen, heard, or move so much as a feather in this world, they must be in the physical realm at the time, and they could be detected, proved to exist by nothing more sophisticated than a set of bathroom scales. Once you look into it, there seems to be no difference between the spiritual realm and fantasy land, and a growing number of people don't think this is a coincidence. Where the spiritual and the paranormal are concerned, each contradictory answer only adds 10 more unanswerable questions. Many are defeated by this instead of drawing the obvious conclusion that these are not answers. This is not knowledge. But there are answers and there is bullshit, and you can learn to tell them apart. Seeking advice from someone who is profoundly ignorant is like asking your dog what's on TV tonight. You might ask, and the dog might bark a reply, but you will have learned precisely nothing.
Squirrel!
Do your own experiments. If you had a grandfather called Zachariah, who died from a bolt of lightning, go see a medium and see for yourself how many guesses it takes the medium to even land on a Z, let alone the cause of your grandfather's demise. Enjoy it. Watch them squirm. And when the medium says the spirits don't always answer, tell them that's fine, because you don't always pay. Whereas, if an analogy could be drawn to science on this matter, science could provide you with your grandfather's full name, address, date and place of birth, family tree, phone number, the time and place of his death, and the voltage of the lightning bolt that got him. The religious will show you an empty boxing ring and tell you that there is an invisible, 20-foot-tall, bare-knuckle prize fighter in that ring waiting for you. No sane person would get in the ring if they even half believed it, but look closely, look at the ring. It's empty. Who would be afraid to enter an empty boxing ring? Unless, of course, they're afraid that the ring is empty.
Jesus.